him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mac? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They call me Bobby Drake cause I'm cold with the pen. I run no diamonds but I still shine. You can dig me cause my boy's mine. My tracks flame like a dilute. I on the blood on my tongue, thinking it's a warm blue. I'ma throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist, but you smell me. One spark, then I bet you I'ma blow up. Then throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. My verse is thinking in his man, but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm drinking knife through the game, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. I came to eat at the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, call me brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I pour another pint to use Decepticon. Straight rappers to the streets like Cobra. 80s they get floated like up in the storage and I'm E-man. Up, down, down, then I'm cheap. You a beast, man. I take a beating. Ninja Turtle rap, Turtle Clans get defeated. Hop in my ride, you can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me, cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like Moroccan, my whole to the A, and I bet you can stop us. LL bad when I go and show up. You can hear the haters in the back. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. To get that honey sauce on me, I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This your man. Oh, shoot. Let me scoop. This your man, Drake Mack, coming to you again with another episode of The Drake Mack Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast right now, go ahead and get up because you already know that the early bird gets the worm. And on today, I had to dive back into this conversation, with Rob from Comics Explain when he made a statement. I made a video about it, so I need you guys to check out that video because somebody did call him a racial slur for not covering Milestone Comics. But it was a statement that he made that stuck with me all weekend, where he said that Milestone Comics or a black-owned comic was political. And why is it that when it comes to the black comics, the black-owned comics is somehow political? It is stuck in my craw this whole weekend. So I want to talk about it. I got to get this. It's just something that has sat with me and sat with me, and I need to get this off my chest. I need to get this off my chest. So hopefully you guys are happy. Hopefully you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gan over at the Heavy Gan channel. But you already know how I do. The real question is,
Say why you hating on my energy? Say why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy.
all right, all right, all right, all right. But before I get to anything, let's go ahead and let's see who is all in the house today. Marley Maury, good morning, good morning, good morning. Wavy Thames, good morning, good morning. Junior Ben Israel, good morning, good morning, good morning. Mr. Alkabulin, good morning, good morning, good morning. Junior Network, what's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me see. Krisha Key, good morning, good morning. Xavier Phoenix, good morning, good morning, good morning. Jacob, good morning, good morning, good morning. Alvin Rodriguez, good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, Chameleon, good morning, good morning, good morning. Uh, see, so I want you to understand, Alvin. I logically, I understood. Just because I understand where someone is coming from doesn't mean I agree. I just understand exactly where people is coming. When you, the type of person that I am, I could listen to someone and say, I completely understand where they're coming from based on logic. Remember, I said in the video, logically, I can understand where people are, what people are coming from. Logically, my feelings is different. Logically, when you put the pieces together, I can see where a person is coming from. You know what I mean? Uh, but for me, that doesn't mean that I agree with it. I can see where it's coming from. Doesn't mean I agree, but I can see where they coming from because my feelings is something else. And I said that in the video. You could, matter of fact, I re-listened to what I said before I even did this video. I was going to work yesterday because I went to work yesterday for some overtime, and I was listening to myself. I could hear myself sigh, like, because I knew that it was bothering me. You know what I'm saying? That was bothering me. I didn't address it because, again, I don't want to bash the brother for doing something that, you know, that personally, if I had that platform, I would do. Because he's not me. He doesn't come from where I come from. Probably doesn't, just wants to avoid that, that ish for everything. He probably just wants to avoid it. Doesn't even want to, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't even want to talk about those type of issues. But I can't avoid those issues based on what I've done in my life, based on the way that I talk about black issues and stuff like that. And I've been doing that for years. And my mind won't let me escape that. You call it woke, you call it whatever. My mind won't let me escape that whatsoever. I just can't. I try. Once Pandora's box is open, there's nothing that I could do to cut that back off. And Pandora's box for me been open a long time when it came to black issues. You know, oh my God, did somebody do taste the biscuits for the Magna? Oh, so that's why. So it again, why the question is why when it comes to the black comics, the black owned comics, it's political. All of a sudden, it's a political thing for you to do that. Now again, I'm not mad or want him to do it. You got black comic lords that's out here. You got people like Chillmonger who will go over comics. Again, Blur Without Fear, and there's other comic creators on this platform that will give you what you're looking for. I legitimately went through Rob's catalog. Rob got a second channel where all of his videos, that he's covered, he's you know put them all in long sat together. What? I never said, Alvin, get up. Are you I'm about to block you for 55 months. Don't ever come and say I never said that. No, I'm about to block you for 55 months. Don't come in here with that mess. I'm not doing it this morning. I'm not doing it. Get out of here. Now get. I did not say that. I did not say somebody on my. You could go look at my post. Somebody else said that. Now I was like, mid? Really? You talking about Static Shock? You talking about Icon? You call it mid? I totally disagree with that. You can see it in the post. Stop playing with me. Stop playing 55 months, Alvin. This is where you about to get. Yeah. Nope. I did not say that. I did not. I responded to somebody who said that it was mid, and I was like, he said that Rob doesn't have to do it. Plus, Mousehold comics are mid. That's exactly what he said. And I said, quote, that I agree with you on this, but calling it mid, I totally disagree with that. Totally disagree with that. You're talking about Static Shock. You're talking about Icon. You're talking about mid. I totally disagree with that. Don't 55 months. Say it again. Say it again. 55 months. You're gonna be eligible for parole in 50. Don't play with me. You're gonna be locked up like a car loan. Stop playing with me. Anyway, let me shout out some more of these people in here while Alvin Rodriguez gets his mind right. Cause I'll pull up my damn comment. Comment. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Anyway. Tyra J, good morning. Good morning. Michael Johnson, good morning. Tina, aka Mintygasm, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Lady Lattimore, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me see. Is that Tasia Max? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Hold up. Wait a minute, because that shit just hold up. Just so we make sure we on the same. Hold up. Not unresponded. Responded. Hold on. Because I want to just make sure we get this 55 months. Just want to make sure that we get this here. This he's not okay. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me share my screen. Nah, you ain't got it. I got it. Don't worry about it. 55 months. Stop playing with me. 55 months. The animal librarian 781 said he's not obligated and Mouse on mid anyway. I said I agree with the first part, saying he's not obligated. And disagree wholeheartedly with the second. Alvin, 55 months. You're gonna be eligible for parole 50. So basically, you're saying Static Shock is mid, Icon. Your opinion, though. Like dude in the Jordan video. It's exactly what I said. I agree with the first part. He is not obligated to talk about nothing. I'm gonna get to that later on in the stream. And disagree wholehearted with the secondly. Call him Milestone mid. No, Milestone is not mid. You know what I'm saying? And to say it you better say it 55. You was looking at time, Alvin. You was looking at time. Well, you can't. One thing about me, you can't do that. Can't put that in my mouth. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Straight pause. You got to make sure you come with you got to copy and paste it. You know what I mean? You better copy and paste it. But you can't, a guy can't sit up here and say, oh, well, all this stuff is, is mid and this is mid and that's mid, whatever. Again, we have to get to a point where I can agree with your opinion. I can understand your opinion. That doesn't mean I agree. You know what I'm saying? I understand people's opinion. Even when he talked about neurotic and neurotic and the critical drinker or whatever, why he follows their content to understand where they're coming from. To me, it's the best way to know your enemy. Me personally, there's only so much of what somebody says that I can take before I can't take it no more. Before I'm like, yo, I can't take this no more. I gotta get up out of here. Because it's too much. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Especially when it's so negative. I personally can't do too much of an impasse to sit up here and watch people crap. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. You know what I mean? I could react to it, but I personally cannot do it. Now, at that same time, I can completely understand where these people are coming from. Doesn't mean I agree. A lot of these feel like the white man is getting replaced. He can't even be a superhero no more without getting replaced. Women should be in the house. You know what I mean? They should be cooking dinner. You know what I'm saying? Not burning up the house, making sure their kitchen is clean and all of this and having babies. I didn't say I agree with it, but I see where they're coming from. That doesn't make it right. You know what I'm saying? Chris Rock said something prolific on Bigger and Blacker. He was like, just because you can push your car with your feet, don't make it a good idea. It sounds good in theory, but that doesn't make it a good idea. I can understand, but doesn't make it a good idea. So I can see where a lot of these guys are coming from. I can see where Rob is coming from. The political part is where it is bothering me. So I have to talk why that's bothering me. But before I do that, let me go and shout out all my crew members because you guys have been holding it down, the magnificent crew. Let's go ahead. Let's get to it. Let's go. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that have been holding it down for Dre Mack and the crew since the beginning. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. Go. Bye. All right. And again, thank you so very much for being a channel member. I really appreciate it. Most definitely, if you want to be a channel member, all you got to do is hit the join button on go to the main home screen of the channel, hit join, $2.99 a month. It helps me out a lot. Miss Roberta's in the house. Hey, Miss Roberta. Miss Roberta, right on. Look. Tell her, Tina. Right on time. You know what I'm saying? Right on time. So, American Ninja Girl, good morning. Good to see you up in the chat this early. Let's do this. I need to go to a commercial break. Y'all know I got to pay for some of these biscuits because what I'm going to do is I'm going to play back the video. Matter of fact, it's a couple of receipts that I'm going to bring and why this bothers me. My feelings. Not my feelings is hurt. My feelings is not hurt. My feelings is why is it when it comes to black-owned comics, you know, that it's all of a sudden political? Not the comics that was made by Jewish men, not the comics was made by white men, not comics made. Why is this a problem? Why is that political? When people say political, it's like, if I cover this, it's like I'm taking a stance on blackness. And, you know, of course, I'm asking myself, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're black, and especially if you know the struggle of black people. Now, again, I'm not saying that he has to just, you know, how can I say this? Doesn't mean he has to do it. I'm gonna go through. We about to go through a thorough check, because this ain't the brother that I'm asking to cover Milestone. It's not. Based on the things he has already done over the past however many years he's been on this platform, that ain't the brother I'm asking to cover Milestone Comics. He doesn't even give an indication is that this is the guy that I want to cover Milestone Comics. And I'm going to go over what he covers in his channel. And then I'm going to say, ask yourself, does this look like the type of guy that's going to cover some Milestone? This just, you know, and then while we're talking about politics, while we're talking about things being political, I'm going to have to pull a receipt on Rob for this weekend talking about politics. So trust and believe. I'm not trying to attack the brother or nothing like that. I'm just saying, my question is, why is that political when it comes to a black-owned comic? You know what I mean? You know, and again, I'm not asking him to do something that he's not comfortable with. I'm just questioning. That's it. D Sizzle, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, D? The admin, what's up? What's up? What's up? So I am Rosales Comics. What's up? What's up? What's up? No, I'm not going to attack. Now, personally attacking somebody for their own thoughts and belief is whack to me. You know what I'm saying? Let's say out here tasting the biscuits. You know, man, that's the only people if they're being detrimental to my people, you know, that's the only thing that I would go after somebody with. Other than that, nah. Yeah. But if you don't obsess with, you're saying if you didn't obsess about race, it wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be an issue if people wasn't obsessed about race in the beginning. But, you know, I didn't write, you know what I'm saying, the history of race and started defining people in the 1800s, not by tribe, but by race. I didn't create that. I did not create that. So when we point out things because of our race, because things have happened in this country based on our race, not something that I did. Dre Mack didn't make this up. The United States government decided to put stipulations on black people. The United States government decided to do separate, not equal. The United States government decided to enforce Jim Crow laws. Yeah, Dre Mack didn't do that. The United States, the United States government decided that black people wasn't even worth the anything, and tried to make us, you know, as far as like Darwinism and all of that, try to say that we were less than human. 3/5 human rule. They make that for black people. They didn't make that for anybody else. So, and I'm not even talking about slavery. I'm talking about post-slavery, just what we went through. So I didn't make it about that. So we're going to discuss that, especially through Black History Month, or AKA Negro History Month. You know what I'm saying right now. So anyway. Jesus didn't even have, Jesus went by tribes, baby. Don't come in what Jesus said. And Jesus wasn't blonde hair, blue eyed either. So yeah, get out of it. Nope, not today. Not today. Not today. Not today. You will be banned to the Shadow Realm for 55 months. Come in here and talk that stuff. You will be banned for 55 months. Shadow Realm. what you call that? The goulash. So where you gonna be bad to come up here talking this mess? This is wrong. I'm the wrong person. Wrong channel, baby. Wrong channel. Wrong channel. So if you don't want to have a legit conversation and you say we whine about 300 years, and it's funny that we whine about something, it's always someone who's not us telling us what we need to do. But then I turn around and listen to everybody else whine that the white man is being replaced and all of this stuff, and with your little tiki torches and motherfucker. Oh God, I'm getting there. I'm trying not to cuss. And people over here climbing on walls because they mad that their favorite person didn't win the presidential election. Then the man wins anyway, and look at where we're standing in this country right now. It's so funny. It is so funny. But you know what else is funny? Me taking this commercial break because people in here tasting the biscuits, and I need to get more biscuits. I obviously need to get more biscuits. There's a lot of buttery biscuit in activity going on right now, and I'm getting hyped. So I'll be right back with more. Don't you go nowhere with the Dre Mack Show.
Knight Rider will return after these messages and station identification.
Stedman, he's Stedman, not just Oprah's boyfriend. If you cross him, you're a dead man. You heard what I said, man.
I heard he was gay.
No way, sister.
Who's that man? He's Stedman.
Knight Rider Power Cycle with Kit on the pretend instrument panel.
Here he comes.
There's something special happening at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Fresh buttermilk biscuits made from scratch. Our chicken head biscuits a perfect match.
Warm, taste so good, make you want to slap your mama for real. Man, I slap your grandma, I slap your auntie.
Good idea. Playing horsey with your little sister. Bad idea. Playing horsey with your Aunt Bertha.
Let's see who's bad, man. Come on, let's go. Let's do it. Let's show you who's bad. Come on.
You wear a disguise to look like human guys, but you're not a man, you're a chicken boo.
Now the conclusion of
I hate how they talk about you. Everybody thinks you're just a freeloader. They don't know about...
They can't know. They can't ever know. If my cover's blown, we're both dead.
Do you like the car? It's for you.
What's the occasion?
I can't believe you forgot again. It's our anniversary. We've been engaged for 15 years.
You know, I'd marry you tomorrow, baby. But it wouldn't be fair. Not to you or to the free world. Well, look at you.
This is it. I can't believe it. After 15 years, we're finally going to consummate our love.
Damn. This is Stedman. It's the commissioner. What? Professor Haight? He's escaped? Damn. What? The French Riviera? Now? Yes, sir. I'm on my way. Damn him! Damn that Professor Haight!
He's escaped? Again? Can't they build a prison strong enough to hold him for at least one night?
He's diabolical. I must go.
Can it wait just 1 hour? I want it so bad. 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Believe me, when we finally make love, I'm gonna take my time. It's gonna take all night long. But right now, I'm gonna need some money.
How much?
Let's see. French Riviera. In the house. Wardrobe. Disguises, special weapons, laser glasses, speedboat, armored helicopter.
All I have on me is 1.3 million.
That'll have to do.
Oh, darling, what kind of life is this?
Oprah, darling, you have to be strong. There's more at stake than just you and me.
Here's something to read on the plane.
Thank you, darling.
How about a kiss?
Of course. Close your eyes.
Oh, Stedman.
He's diabolical. That's what it is. Diabolical. But we must go. We got the free world to save. And we're not going to stop until we save that free world. All right. So what's up, Blue? And I want you guys to check out Blue's. I think he just did a live last week about Milestone Comics. So make sure you go to Blue's channel. Look at that video that he did about Milestone Comics, because Milestone Comics is important into the comic book realm. It's very important. So make sure that you guys check out his video, because the live stream was about, why Milestone Comics is so important. And it's just as important as Atlas Comics. It's just as important as Timely Comics. It's just as important as Detective Comics. Just as important as Marvel Comics. It's just important as Image, so on and so forth. And it's funny how Image Comics is not called controversial. It's not called political, even though they had the same concept as Milestone Comics. Guys who have been shunned by the industry, or there's some type of controversy, they go off and start their own comic book company, and somehow that's celebrated. So I'm going to play. Let me shift, and I'm going to play where this part in the video, about the 6-minute mark of this video, and where still, to me, it started to feel it, you know what I'm saying? It started to feel like he was saying it's becoming political, because he's pushing a black comic that's made by a black man. That's political. So let me get to that. Let me show you what he's talking about.
Black character created by a black writer and a black artist. At that point, it becomes a political video. And the reality here is this: the videos that I make are all based on whether or that it means I either have to lie about enjoying it, and figure out that I'm full of shit, right? And making the statement that I'm knowledgeable about Milestone.
Real quick.
That, and let's apply it to Milestone, right? I would not purport to be an expert on Milestone comics, right? I mean, I could lie and say that I am, but anyone who's knowledgeable about Milestone could press me for 5 minutes and figure out that I'm full of shit, right? And making the statement that I'm knowledgeable about Milestone. But I have read enough of the various stories that are out there to know that it just doesn't resonate with me on a personal level, in the same way that G.I. Joe doesn't resonate with me, or anything in
And I said in the video, I understand where he's coming from if it doesn't resonate. That's not the problem.
Transformers, that's not all hail Megatron. All hail Megatron was dope, right? But, there are some stories that just don't resonate with me. And Milestone's one of them. It just didn't resonate with me on a personal level. And so if I were to turn around and I were to make a video on a story arc from Milestone, and I don't enjoy it, then it means I either have to lie about enjoying it, or I tell people the reason why I'm making it in the first place. It's a black character created by a black writer and a black artist. At that point, it becomes a political video. And
that's where I wanted to stop at. That's where I wanted. It becomes a political video, because it's something I didn't want to do in the first place, right? I didn't want to talk about it in the first place, but since we're here, since it's just black, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, because I don't want to piss off my fan base by pushing a video to say, get this information or read these stories, even though I don't like it. Read these stories because, hey, it's a black man, you know what I'm saying, that created this. So you don't need to do with it. That's the way. How can I articulate this? Because again, I think it just sits in my crawl. It sits in my crawl because, again, my logical side understands where Rob is coming from. Don't talk about stuff you don't like. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to talk about stuff you don't like. Let me say that again. You don't have to talk about stuff you don't like. You know what I mean? And I understand that. logical side, I can see where he said it's a political, again, logical. Okay, you talk about something that you don't like just because it's black, just like, you know, if you talk about something because it's German and you want to let people know about German history, you know what I'm saying? And then because of the history with Germany and stuff like that, you probably don't want to push that video. I understand logically in my brain. I understand that. Here's, I think, where I have a problem is because we get to a point where we don't want to offend anybody, because that's what it sounds like. I like what I like. I don't want to piss my fan base off. So I'm not going to talk about something that's actually technically part of history. It's part of black history, right? You can talk about Adam Bashir. You can talk about this. You can talk about that, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? You can do Godzilla versus Superman. That's fine. But even just discussing, and this is the other thing, is discussing Milestone Comics to maybe you might not jive with it, but maybe bring it to a new audience, because you do have a large platform and a lot of things that has gone on with the black community, especially within this nerd space, especially within comic books, get swept under the rug. That's somehow wrong and political, about allowing your audience to find out more about a black-owned comic book shop or a black-owned comic book label. And again, I might not, and I would say in my video, honestly, there's certain stories in here that does not resonate with me, but let me at least tell you the history, because this may be something that you guys want to read in the future and introduce a whole new audience. That's not my color. See, me, I'm preaching to the choir, because the majority of people that's in here are black. So if I say anything about Milestone, if Blue say anything about Milestone, well, the majority of us look like this. And still, there may be somebody who never heard of this comic book company or whatever that is now owned by DC Comics, that is very underutilized in DC Comics. Let me say that again. Very underutilized in DC Comics. So they don't even get to shine. And a lot of times, black characters do not get to shine like obscure white characters in comics. You would literally have obscure white characters pop up and get a whole story arc. And they'd be like, who the hell is this? Or I haven't heard that in forever. Like, he ain't even popular. But this black character barely gets any shine, or is regulated to sidekick, background character, or comic relief. So, it's just good to educate. You don't have to sit up here and go through a whole story arc of Milestone Comics. But hell, to just dismiss it as political, I think this is where I'm trying to understand, or I'm trying to convey. It's just because, you feel like because it's a black artist, it's a black man writing black characters, it becomes a political, doesn't mean it's not important for others to know about. You know what I mean? That's just the same way about Boom Comics, the same way about Image, the same thing with IDW. You know what I'm saying? Or ID Comics, or any other comic book creation, the education and the understanding of these characters. Not once are we talking about the history of these of the comic book, the guys who created this, and why this is important, even though the stories itself doesn't resonate with me. And I think that's why I have so much of a problem with, because again, I'm going to reiterate this before I get into the history, or no, I got another receipt that I want to pull from Rob. But just because you don't understand, or it doesn't resonate with you, doesn't mean your audience can't be taught one time about this comic book company that was created by Dwayne McDuffie and others, and understand why that's important. Again, I'm not mad he's not covering it because honestly, and I'm not even trying to be funny because I love Rob's content, but honestly, is this not trying to be funny? Just not throwing shade. Does he look like the type of guy who's going to be covering Milestone Comics? Does this look like the face of somebody who's going to be covering Milestone Comics? No. No. He doesn't look like the type of person I'd be like, he's going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, you know, especially during like I said, during Black History Month and stuff like that, to educate people on things that are black. See, what I don't like is people to become reactionary. What up, High CHD? What's good? What I don't like is no, Mr. Al Kabulan. He doesn't sound like it. He doesn't look like it. He doesn't seem like that's the type of, after following this dude for so long, and I'm talking about, I've been listening to Rob for years. I'm talking about years now. When I finally found out what he looks like, I'm like, yeah, that kind of fits. And he just does not look like the type of guy who's going to talk about that. But again, people need to be proactive and not reactive. And see, what happens is somebody calls you out and then you're now reactive. You know what I mean? And somebody just said, hey, you know, why don't you cover Milestone? And he was like, again, should he have been called a coon? Hell no. That's not even right. You know what I'm saying? And even the right context for this guy, because he doesn't cover what you like. You shouldn't call him out his name for that. Just ask him, why don't you cover? You know, during Black History Month, what, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you cover things that are that's not from the big three or the big two? You know, it cover like a black comic that or a black comic book, either a black comic that's not from Marvel or DC that you can educate people on during Black History Month. I mean, hell, just during Black History Month. I'm like, hell, that's 1 month out of 12. You know what I mean? And if that's how you want us to do, just leave it at that. But since he went here, he went and said it was political. Because if I do it, just be doing it because they're black, now it becomes a political statement. And again, I'm asking, is it because they're black? And why does even talking anything black created? Because I've heard that throughout history, everything that's black ends up being some type of political. Why is that? So let him finish, and then I'm gonna get to another video he did.
And the reality here is this. The videos that I make are all based on whether or not I enjoy them and my fans enjoy them. The color of your skin, regardless of what it is not going to somehow magically grant you access to my channel. That's never going to happen, right? That rule that I follow is applied universally across the board, regardless of your skin color and regardless of my relationship with you. For example, a buddy of mine, Victor, and Victor, if you see this, I hate to drag you into this bullshit, man. But
okay, let me rewind this back.
Right? Tell people the reason, tell people it's dope, right? But it's dope, right? But, you know, there are some stories that just don't resonate with me. And Milestone's one of them. It just didn't resonate with me on a personal level. And so if I were to turn around and I were to make a video on a story arc from Milestone and I don't enjoy it, then it means I either have to lie about enjoying it or I tell people the reason why I'm making it in the first place. It's a black character created by a black writer and a black artist. At that point, it becomes a political video. And the reality...
And that's, I think, again, he said that becomes a political video if I do it just because they're black. And he's saying, basically, I don't care what color you are. I don't want to do anything based on your skin color. So let me do this. I'm gonna pause this real quick. I'm gonna look for I think I pulled it up. But, you know, let's just be honest. We could be able to talk about this stuff because a lot of people still sacrifice for us to be in this space. You know what I mean? A lot of people sacrifice to be in this space. But Alvin, if you notice, what majority? You've been on this channel long enough. Long enough. What do I talk about on this channel? I'm not asking them to cover this. I'm not. But what do I do on this channel? Do I do reaction videos? But don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Because like I didn't cover Milestone this year. Guess who did? That guy right there. My partner in crime. You know what I'm saying? He covered Milestone. He covered the history of Milestone and all of that. So what's wrong with, I might have did it, but Blue did it. So y'all need to go watch Blue's channel, who did a live about the significance of Milestone Comics. That, you know what I mean? But if you notice, that's who I'm mainly going after. Hi CHD said at Dre, his explanation is confusing because he says he doesn't want to cover Milestone because of the black politics, but Blue Marvel has black, and he goes into his soliloquy about Blue Marvel and how much he liked it and how dope the story is. But all of a sudden, he read a few things about Milestone and he totally dismissed that. You know what I mean? And I think that's I think that's my problem. I think that's my problem. Because you can't talk about Blue Marvel, whose history is literally based in race. But then you look at Milestone and be like, nah, that ain't it. That doesn't resonate with me. But anyway, let me do this. Since this is for Albert Rodriguez, the Milestone story. The African prince who gave up his throne to fight crime. The muscle-bound manservant acting as a sidekick to the white hero. Do-gooders whose names were prefixed with black to make their defining characteristics clear. From the moment that characters of color began to appear in comics, these were the narrow roles that they were allowed to fill. By the late 1980s, 3 black creators, Dennis Cowens, Dwayne McDuffie, and Michael Davis, had seen enough of those stereotypes. So let's just get it. Let's just get it now. I'm just Greg Reagan Thrag was just talking about what I talked about in my video if you watched it. So this is talking about the stereotypes. So I'm going to, because I did a short on this years ago. Talk about the history of black comics. See, but I'm gonna go a little further because I'm gonna give y'all some. That is not what I want. That's not what I want it right there. Why didn't that pop up? It's funny. It's funny. It won't play my video of Grace Randolph saying it won't play my. That is wild. It won't play my video where it's talking about oh shit. It won't play my video where what's her name is saying that hair Mr. Terrific's hair is political. And again, here it is. Hold on real quick.
I don't know if I would have injected that into the character. I think I would have just focused on making the character as sexy and cool as possible.
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
Right, so as for the hair, it's a little retro. I agree with CM. It's a little 70s, a little 60s. It's a little black power, a little political in my opinion.
What?
Wrong. I don't know if I would have injected that into the character. I think I would have just focused on making the character as sexy and cool as possible.
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
You can't do that. You can't tell us what's hip and what's cool about our hair. When Edie is playing Mr. Terrific and he looks just like the comic book character, how dare you going to try to make his hairstyle or anything about his hair political? Honestly, a lot of us get tired of white people trying to tell us what to do with our hair. For one, you don't get to tell us what's hip and cool. So if Edie thinks that goes with the character, then it goes with the damn character. Stop telling us what's political or whatever. Just cut it out. Stop. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up is because anything that has to do with black people, it seems like it's political. Why is it political? Why is black people, anything black people's hair, black people's walk, black people's talk, anything black people do, they try to make it political. And I think that pisses me off because black people can't even live and be in a certain place without it. Something has to be political about it. You know what I'm saying? Why does that have to be a political statement because of hair? Why does it have to be a political statement because of the way he talks or whatever? Why does that have to be political? You know what I mean? And again, I think that's what I have a problem with most of all, is that anything that we do, it seems like there's some type of political statement to it. And why? Why does that have to be political? You know what I mean? That's bothersome. When you're a black person, you're just trying to live. Why does everything have to be taken as political? Because you stand up for something, it's political. You ask somebody, hey, you can go ahead and check out what check out this black comic. Nope, I don't want to cover that. I don't like the story, and that's political. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why? Here, give you some more nuggets. Damn, why does they keep doing that? It keeps I'm clicking on it and it keeps popping my stuff off. Hold on. God dang it. I literally, because it's a short that I did about all Negro comics. And I did this for the ones who said what I don't cover. But can we watch it real quick? This mug is tripping. Hold on. I think I'm about to get to it. There you go. From today's episode. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Black Panther is often most credited as the first black superhero, having debuted in Marvel's Fantastic Four number 52 in 1966. But in 1947, black journalist Orrin C. Evans created All Negro Comics, the first ever all-black comic book. At a time where cartoons and comic books echo the often racist beliefs of the society that created and read them, Evans wanted to elevate black voices as well as raise the profiles of black artists. In his only editor's letter for the comic book, Evans said, "Every brushstroke and pen line in the drawings on these pages are by Negro artists." Called the publication another milestone in the splendid history of Negro journalism that will glorify Negro. What's up? And I did that video about 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's been about 4 years because I was in my old apartment. So about 4 years ago. So what I'm saying is that I've done a whole video on the history of black comics. You know what I'm saying? And why black comics is historical. And I think I seen Erica D up in here. You know, it's historical. It's not political. This is just history. You know what I mean? And again, I understand somebody's trying to be neutral and they don't want to offend anybody or they want to just stay in their lane. I understand that. And at the same time, me being black and teaching more about stuff that's getting shook under the rug, because I'm not looking for Marvel to tell me about Milestone Comics or DC. You know what I mean? It takes creators with platforms to talk about this particular type of stuff. And when you're talking about something and you're just making it political and not making it historical, well, you already took yourself out of it. You've already took yourself out of it. And again, I wanted to show that to show number one, I've already covered a lot of this stuff. Number two, you know, when you have a platform and you can make a difference, that's a way to make a difference. I'm not saying he has to go. I'm not saying the man's going to turn into Malcolm X tomorrow. I'm not saying that. That'd be ridiculous. What'd be nice is give the education of something and see what people think about it after that. Because again, you got white audience members who don't know nothing about black-owned comics or their history or whatever. They don't know. All they see is characters because they don't have to deal with that. When people tell me, why do I whine? Why do I do this? Why do I do that? Black, you hypocrite. Oh, those are in the comics. Oh, that's the little toilet seat. You know what I'm saying? So since little toilet is in here, I'm about to drop a deuce on you. Little toilet, about to drop a deuce. See, a lot of people that's not in our position, that don't come from where we come from, do not have to deal with that. And some of us that's in that position want to run so far away from it so we don't have to deal with it. So we don't have to literally wake up, look at our reality, and some people don't have it like we do. They don't have to deal with it like we do. You know what I mean? Little toilet, let me drop this deuce on you. Since you already there, let me drop this deuce on you. How is it hypocritical for me to talk about the struggles of my people, right? And the things that we have to go through and the historical connotation of a comic book landscape and company, but nobody has that problem with two Jews create Superman. And we learn about the Jewish history of these people and what the Jews went through and why Superman was a symbol of truth, hope, and justice in that American way. So when we do it, it's political. When somebody else does it, it's them being pride in their country, pride in their history. See what I mean? So here's another deuce for you. I'm about to not pay attention to what you're talking about and get into this history because you need this history. You're going to get this work today. Since you came in here a little toilet, you about to get this deuce full of work. So let me see where I leave off at. All right, so by the late 80s, three black creators, Dennis Cowan, Dwayne McDuffie, and Michael Davis, had seen enough of these stereotypes. All three have built successful careers in the predominantly white comic book industry, but found their opportunities limited by a business that still didn't value diversity. A pointed, now legendary memo that McDuffie wrote to his bosses around this time mused satirically on a recent preponderance of black superheroes for some reason, rode skateboards. McDuffie's friend Dennis Cowan, already an artist of note at the time, understood exactly where he was coming from. Being a black artist and surviving in this industry, you weren't going to get the same breaks, the same kind of money, and you had to work twice as hard, says Cowan, who had drawn books like Batman and The Question. We were doing major things in the industry, but also running up against major frustrations. So to dismiss these guys' frustrations because they were in the industry. And when I was at Comic-Con, I got to talk to a lot of comic book writers and artists, especially the artists that created Spider-Man Noir, and he talked about his frustrations as a comic book creator because he's not getting paid for Spider-Man Noir while Spider-Man Noir is getting ready to have a TV series. He gets none of that. He gets none of that, right? And at the same time, they're just using his character all willy-nilly. And he's married to a black woman who had to create her own comic books that represented what she wanted to talk about, which was, black girl empowerment. Because there was not a lane for that, so people created their own lane. All right. So the spark of change outside comics, though there was a revolutionary brewing throughout the late 80s or early 90s, black voices have become increasingly predominant and influential in film, music, and other media. Artists like Public Enemy, Spike Lee, and Reginald Hunlin were at the center of something like a renaissance, but that renaissance hadn't yet made its way to comics, where mostly white editors and executives didn't quite get it. Cohen saw this failing as a glaring gap in the marketplace and as an opportunity not to just create his own black heroes, but to go one step further with a black-owned company that could control its own destiny. As Michael Davis now puts it, every black kid on the planet who has ever read comic books from the day that they realized that every superhero was white has always wanted to do a black comic book company. We all had that dream. Now, we always talk about Black Panther being the first mainstream black superhero out here, right? And we give Jack Kirby a lot of credit for going against the grain and creating a black hero. But I literally have it's a reprint of Fantastic Four number 52, right? The first introduction of Black Panther. You know what they did? Cover his face. I could go and show you guys my Ultimate Fallout number 4, the first introduction of Miles Morales. What did they do? Cover his face. Spider-Man Annual number 15, the first introduction of Monica Rambeau. What did they do? Cover her face. The only person that got a debut that's face wasn't covered was Luke Cage, because he was based off of 70s exploitation, the exploitation era. So he looked cool. He looked presentable. Black Spider-Man got his face covered. They didn't do that with Miguel O'Hara. You see what I'm saying? There's always something when it comes to the black hero that they're afraid to show their white audience. And to say, and even when Rob explains Adam Brashear, white people freaked out in the world of the comic, white people freaked out when they found out he was black, right? Because they felt like he had all this power. You couldn't beat him. He was indestructible. That he was going to line himself with the black community and destroy all white people for the transgressions of whites in this country. But he didn't stand with the blacks or the whites in the comics, technically, and that's exactly what Rob is doing. He didn't stand with the blacks. He didn't stand with the whites. He remained neutral. And JFK told him, well, because they know you black, you can't even operate as a superhero. Now, let's translate that to being a comic book artist, right? And you're a dope comic book artist. Maybe your name is Christopher Priest, and you're coming in, or a credible writer. Let's just say that, credible writer. And what they do is, hey, we got these felon comics. We're going to put these under the Marvel Knights line. Here, you can do whatever you want to them. You know what I mean? Good luck, buddy. And he turns around and makes not only Black Panther rise from the ashes, because they was getting ready to cancel Black Panther. People forget that Black Panther lay dormant from 1978 to a 4-issue miniseries in 1988 and lay dormant again until 1998, where they were getting ready to start purging the comics. Christopher Priest, a black artist, saved that comic. And now we're, everything Black Panther and recast T'Challa and what Chadwick Boseman brought to the scene. They did not give a flub about that comic for almost 20 years. They didn't care about the first mainstream That's why Dwayne McDuffie's contribution, Dennis Cohen and Derek Dingle, that's why their contribution to the comic book community is so damn vital. And why, instead of dismissing it as just black politics, you could be at where you're at with your millions of subscribers, can be educating people on how important these stories are, even if it doesn't resonate with you personally. That's the thing. Because they did not care. And people like Christopher Priest and other writers that these particular comics were getting ready to go by the wayside, save those characters. Deadpool was another one of them. Christopher Priest read some Deadpool comics too. Wrote some great stories for Deadpool. So what I'm saying is, there was not a lot of black faces that wasn't a sidekick or a stereotype. And let's be honest, even at that time, Falcon was still a sidekick during the 80s. Hell, look at Battlestar. There was a lot of, from the Marvel side of things, there was still a lot of black comic book characters that was still regulated to either sidekick characters, comic relief. There wasn't the main guy. Like, people like Night Thrasher came on, you know what I'm saying, during that time. Hell, Marvel was so slick, they turned the Punisher black. Frank Castle was black for an issue. Wouldn't elevate T'Challa, but because Frank Castle got to go through what he got to go through, we're going to make him black. Don't believe me? Go find that comic. But somehow, I'm wrong for bringing up the way we have not gotten the opportunities in this society and how we're just bringing light to that and why we need to educate and understand why a company like Milestone was so important. But somehow this is hypocritical. We don't have no problem celebrating Marvel or DC though. But then I say, let's celebrate Milestone. Let's talk about, at least, again, let me say this again. Even if the comics doesn't resonate with you, right? Even if the comics, you read this comics like it doesn't hit, educating people on the company shouldn't be a problem. Should not be a problem. All right. Let me keep reading, and then I'm going to pull one more receipt, whatever. But before I keep reading, can I go to another commercial break? I don't want y'all to go nowhere. I want you to hit the like button. But I'm going to go to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. I'll be right back with more of the Dre Max Show.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Are you going down? Then you gotta know the best way to go. On the down low.
Damn, you banking like that, and you come over here with a biscuit meal, man?
It's you. It's you.
Whoop-de-doo.
We are talking about the same girl.
Okay, well, what do we do? Fight a duel or something?
Well, I don't know. Maybe,
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes.
Now the conclusion of
Like this?
Slower. Bend over.
Stedman, what's going on?
Darling, are you all right?
Stedman, who was that woman?
That was Professor Haight, disguised as an ugly French lap dancer.
Ugly? She looked beautiful.
I suppose she might have been considered beautiful until you walked in the room.
Oh, Stedman, I've been dreaming of this moment. Come here.
Wild horses couldn't keep me away. Invisible robots!
Invisible robots?
Beep, 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 beep. Look out!
Man, he's dead man. Not just no Bruce boyfriend. If you cross him, you're a dead man. You heard what I said, man.
I heard he was gay. No way, sister.
Who's that man? He's dead man.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. Let me see. Makes no sense. 1982. What's up? Deron, what's up? I know I missed something. Shot Walker, what's good? All right. So let me finish this top part up again. This is the history of Milestone Comics. I'm not gonna read all of this. You guys most definitely could check this out on milestone.media. You could go ahead and read more of this information. It tells you that this whole entire history of this. But yeah, most definitely, check this out and see what you guys think about it. And then let me know in the comment section, if you read this, what do you guys think? But again, I'm just going to since I already got a certain part, let me read the rest of it and let me go to something else. All right. It's one thing to have a dream, it's another to put it in action. But despite the challenge, they knew they would face, Cohen, McDuffie, and Davis decided to take a leap of faith. Also enlisted Derek Dingle, a journalist and childhood friend of McDuffie's, who had the business background that the other three believed would complete the picture as their fourth partner in the endeavor. With the team assembled, all the pieces would be that would become Milestone Media were in place. The next step was more difficult, though also considerably more fun. Now they just had to build a universe. And again, shout out to my man Marley Moore, because Marley Moore is out here building the universe too. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Marley Moore. Now, again, I'm going to bring up something because again, I think he made another video because I believe he felt like he was being attacked. And again, he has to defend himself. You call me a coon, I'm gonna defend myself because I'm like, where did I coon at? Because Tommy Sotomayor don't live around here. So this is him defending himself. I'm gonna just let this play because I haven't listened totally to all of this. But this was, let me see. I think he made this after he said people who prefer isolating self spaces and avoid the real world reply that way. They aren't normal times for the minor area. I personally don't have a problem with Rob, but he said but he said comics he or his subscribers would enjoy. It doesn't make him less, but still. So this was his response. Now we're watching this for the first time, both of us. So let's go.
So one of the things that I want to point out here is that just because I don't talk about politics does not mean I'm oblivious to it. And don't trick yourself into thinking that that's the case. As far as my personal political views go, I mean, I have a combination of, liberal views and conservative views. Right? For example, I believe in a woman's right to have an abortion, but I also believe in the death penalty. Now, the problem that I have with the death penalty is I think it gets used when it doesn't need to be used. As I understand it, most violent offenders in the American prison system who are legitimately guilty of their violent offenses are actually people who are struggling with antisocial personality disorders. And I think that greater emphasis needs to be put on treating those mental health disorders instead of throwing them into a hole for 25 years and saying, now think about what you've done while we turn you into cheap labor, or just outright killing them. But I also recognize that there are some people out there who just cannot be fixed, that if they were released into society would represent a clear and present danger to society. And in that instance, the only choice left is to kill them. In that instance, yes, I support the death penalty. Having said that, no, I'm not a Trump supporter, and no, I'm not a fan of ICE. But I'm also not a fan of political extremism. And you see a lot of that, especially here on Twitter, which is not representative of the real world. But you do see political extremism. For example, right, you open up Twitter and you see a video where an ICE agent runs up on somebody with brown skin, right? Show me your papers. It's like, well, I mean, am I being pulled over? Get out of the car, right? And they're thrown in handcuffs and carried away for daring to question an immigration officer. And you see these comments down below. People say, well, they should have just done what they were told, right? That's a federal authority. They uphold the law, and it's your job to follow it. Well, that's problematic. Why? Because in the 1960s, a man named Stanley Milgram wanted to understand why it was that during the Nuremberg trials, so many former Nazi officers and soldiers kept saying the same thing. I was just following orders. Were they really following orders and doing these heinous things? Or were they just lying? And so what he did is he conducted an experiment. You had person A and you had person B. The job of person A was to ask person B a series of questions. Every time person B got the question wrong, person A would electrocute them. Now, person B was in on the experiment. They weren't actually being electrocuted. But person A, the severity of the electric shock administered by person A was increased over time to the point that person A was actually administering a fatal electric shock to person B. And what Stanley Milgram found was that in a majority of the time, and when I say a majority, I want to say the number was in excess of 60%, like 65%, but I'm not going to swear to that. But in a majority of the time, person A would kill person B. Why? Because they felt like they were being told to do so by a person in a position of authority. In this instance, a doctor with a lab coat and a clipboard who was saying things like, the experiment must continue. It's imperative that we continue. What person A was doing is they were saying, okay, this doctor's telling me the experiment must continue. But if it continues, I would kill person B. But they're telling me it has to continue, which means it has to continue. So I have to kill person B, and they would kill person B. But what about the doctor, the person engaging, who's clearly a stand-in for people giving these nefarious orders in the first place? Well, a lot of you guys have probably heard of the Stanford experiment. If you haven't, it was conducted by Philip Zimbardo in the 1970s. What Philip Zimbardo did is he took 24 college males down to the basement of Jordan Hall. And
he's doing a lot of talking, but you see how clear he's spitting off who, what, where, when, and why. That's why he's good at what he does. That's why he's Comics Explained. All I'm saying is he could take this same information or the same zeal, right? And just make a video about the history of Milestone Comics. He literally could take the same zeal he has and just say the history of Milestone Comics for Black. He could just do it for Black History Month. Because he's obviously talking about something that happened politically. Have you noticed what I'm talking about? If you notice, he's talking about something political. And he's going over the facts, and this person, he can write out that name and write out this, and this is what happened, and that what happened, and this what happened, and that what happened. And he got that same information from Milestone Comics and why, it will be important, not as something political, but as something that's historical within the context of the comic book realm. And say, hey, honestly, I've read a few stories, and that's not, some of the stories didn't go with me, but what do you guys think? Maybe there's some stories that you like. Come back to me after reading some of these stories and tell me what you think about this. You see what I mean? But I just wanted to show you how well he's given this information. I'm talking about Rob is on point because I ain't never heard of what he's talking about. Right? And I'm engaged. That's why I ain't talking. I'm like, oh man, that sounds kind of cool. You know what else would be cool? If you gave that same energy to All Negro Comics, the first black, comic book company in America. What do you know would be dope? Milestone Comics. To drop that, in other comic books, just to give your readers something else, to give your subscribers something else. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to go through this and you got to go through that, but it's funny how we're talking about, something's being political. I heard of Black Sands, and, me and Black Sands, we got our own thing, but I'm not mad at him. I made a video about it. It's on my channel. It's on the channel. I made a video about 4 years ago. You just got to watch the video. That's all I'm going to say. Watch the videos for about 4 years ago when I'm talking about Black Sands versus Ripper versus Eric July. But all I'm saying is there's a great way that he's explaining this, right? And at the same time, it would have been nice for him to just give some information just on these comments, so your audience can be able to get something else besides, what you're talking about normally. It's just something out of the norm. And if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But at least you say, hey man, I talked about this.
Split them into 2 equal groups, 12 people on each side. One group were the prisoners and the other group were the prison guards. Then he walked away. And what he found was that the prison guards started abusing the prisoners, right? Psychologically tormenting them, like depriving them of food and sleep and different things like that. So much so that Philip Zimbardo had to come in and shut the experiment down in 6 days. However, in 2018, there was a book called History of a Lie, which was written by some French researcher whose name I can't pronounce, who actually studied the Stanford experiment. And what he found is that
I kind of understand that, Savage.
Savage went into the whole experiment with a preconceived notion, wanting a preconceived outcome, which is that when it comes to power dynamics, people in positions of authority will inevitably abuse their power. And so apparently, Philip Zimbardo and his research staff were coaching the prison guards on how to abuse the prisoners and how to create a psychologically torturous environment. Now, I say all that to say, if you just simply follow the orders of a person who's in a position of authority for no other reason than the fact that they're in a position of authority and upholding the law, number one, you're assuming that person is not operating with some kind of nefarious bias,
4 years.
whether it was imposed on them or one they chose themselves. And number two, you're assuming the law was just. Just because a law exists does not mean the law is right. But what about the other side, right? The idea of just defying social norms and customs based on nothing other than how you feel. Well, that's how you end up with Timothy McVeigh. So in the 1990s, there was a guy named Larry Gilbreth who was dropping.
Okay, so it sounds like but do you understand? Now do you understand why I felt like it was dismissive of him to just say, I don't want to do Milestone. It's political. Now I'm political. If I cover that on my channel, it's political. And to sit back and sit and listen to all the political jargon that he's talking about. I'm just saying. It's he can spat out all this political stuff about this French guy he can't pronounce and all of this. But then when it came to Milestone, he said basically it's FUBU. It's a for us by us. And there's nothing else, that it's whatever. And if I did that, it would be political. If I did that, it'll be political. But he just literally just spouted off a lot of political stuff. This just happened in this country. Talk about Timothy McVeigh. If you know anything about Timothy McVeigh, you know what he did, in Oklahoma City. I'm not going to repeat it, but you know what happened in Oklahoma City. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that Rob, and I'm not saying the way he looks or even the way he talks, just going through his going through his videography, he does not look like the type of dude who's going to do that. He doesn't. You know what I mean? No, he's not covering Milestone. I think he's covered Static before, but you know, if you go and just look at, you know, let me see if he has a am I on his channel? Yeah. So you look at his videos, you know, this is not going to have a lot. This is going to have the stuff again, I'm not mad at what he covers. He's been covering stuff for a long time on his channel. He has 2.6 million subscribers on his channel. He has 2.6 million subscribers on his, like 2 million. Yeah, it's like 263. No, I mean, I'm sorry, 2,630 some odd million subscribers on his channel. You know what I mean? So he could technically do what he want to do. I mean, it's his channel. But would it be nice? Just would it be nice that, you know, you can go through and just talk about the history of one comic book company? Out of everything you do, would that be so hard? That's all people were really asking. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I still think the person went a little too far by calling him a coon. I think that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? I think that's wrong. But it's funny because this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying before I go to my last commercial break. If you look here, the Return of the Inhumans, everybody knows. If you've been watching Rob for any amount of time, he hates the Inhumans. He hates, with a capital H, he hates the Inhumans. He hates Black Bolt. He hates everything Inhumans. Didn't stop him from making the Return of the Inhumans, though. Making a video about the Return of the Inhumans. And I love it. This is not a diss to Rob. This is let's dive deeper into what you're saying, and here's my perspective and my point of view. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not dogging the dude. I'm not saying he's a racial slur or anything like that. I'm not about to diss dude like that. It ain't that deep for me. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not doing anything that is what I would call cooning, you know what I'm saying, and all of that. Like I said, he's not Tommy Sotomayor. He's not on no Stevie Knight. He ain't out here tasting the biscuits. So, you know what I'm saying? He's not. But it's funny, but like I said, he hates the Inhumans, did a video. But then when it came to that, it was like it just didn't resonate with me. Well, we all know you hate the Inhumans. It doesn't resonate with you either. But you made a video about it. And then you can spout out all this stuff about the jargon, you know, about this political stuff, but then Milestone is just too political. You see what I mean? I mean, you see the videos that I watch, and most of the time I used to go to sleep because you know how it is. You watch one video and then all the videos pop up. I used to go to sleep and Rob's long videos will be playing on my TV. You know what I mean? So, you know, Rob got some airplay out of me. All I'm saying is you see what he covers. You know what I'm saying? You see what he covers. I am not, and I want to make this clear, I am not surprised he doesn't cover Milestone. Not surprised he doesn't cover any other black comic book owned properties or IPs. I'm not surprised. Look at what he covers. He covers what he feels like. What he likes, right? What he likes and what his audience is going to watch. So I'm not surprised at that. I'm not even mad about that. What I'm mad about is that you can on one end saying, oh, this doesn't resonate with me, this is political. Then you go on your platform, talk all this political stuff that you have vast knowledge on. You know what I mean? But milestone is where you draw the line. And again, it's not because I want him to cover it. You can just talk about the history of it. If you could talk about this explained, that explained, if you could talk about you could break down what new characters is coming or Supergirl or whatever, you know, and somebody just asks you about milestone and you kind of get in a little tissy because you feel like it's too political, but then technically, you know, you kind of look like a hypocrite yourself. I'm just saying, you kind of look like a hypocrite if you want to keep it a buck. But I'm about to go into this last commercial break. Please, again, don't go nowhere. I got to see what happens with Stedman. I'm going to be right back with more of the Dre Mack Show.
Knight Rider will continue in a moment.
Wow, 19,000! It's her!
This is the problem with being rich. Your only other nickname is Dick? No.
So you understand the words I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
Coach, I've got AIDS.
Wrong. You're HIV positive. Big difference. It could be years before you even get sick.
With That's My Slow Jam, we found a way to get you all these slow grinding hits at an unbeatably low price. Act now and get all 58 songs for only 52 cents per track.
Just a good old boy.
So skip it, to run, to jump, to hop, hop.
Hi.
Now the conclusion of
Darling, are you all right?
Oh, what happened?
The robot ducked.
Oh, it's a private room. Lock the door.
Of course. First, let me close the blinds. I think someone's calling me.
I didn't hear anything.
Hello?
Monsieur Stedman, this is the Mayor of France.
It's the mayor of France.
It seems that Colonel Haight...
You mean Professor Haight?
Yes, Professor Haight is still alive and he's vowing to destroy you and all of France. There's not a moment to lose.
You got to give me 10 minutes alone with my fiancé. I'm begging you, man.
No, out of the question. Hurry, my yacht is outside.
Darling, I hate to ask, but...
How much do you need?
I'll bring you the change.
Nice of you to drop in, Stedman.
James Brolin. As always, your timing is perfect.
Please, call me Captain Laser.
Still battling Dr. Chaos? I bet Babs is worried sick.
Hey, how does Oprah let you out of the house without a costume?
I'm a secret agent.
Damn! You're good.
I'm the luckiest woman on earth.
All right. I'm going to kind of give okay. Hold on, I'm sorry. So let me just give you just my final words. Dr. Carpy, what's up? Again, I'm not mad because I'm going through just Rob's videos, like all the videos I watched my fair share. I don't watch them like I used to, because I used to sit and listen to these while I was at work when I couldn't get on my phone. Actually, matter of fact, let me just share this real quick. You know, there's your Blue Marvel. One of your Blue Marvel videos right there. He did, you know. But he Blue Marvel meets God, Defenders Beyond. But he said he likes Blue Marvel. But again, he covers DC, he covers Marvel. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. If you know what I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He loves the X-Men. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I believe the problem is, you know, the dismissiveness of what he said. That, you know, if I do it, just be doing it, it's political. I feel like I'm doing a political statement. No, you don't, it doesn't have to be political for you to just explain, you know, the history of Black comics. You know, maybe he feels like he don't have to. He got 2.6 million subscribers. I ain't got to deal with you Negroes. Go find somebody else to do it. We're blurred without fear. He could do it. Don't ask me to do it. Don't care what you Negroes is asking for. I ain't doing it. And does he have the right to do that? Yes, he does. And again, as a YouTuber myself, the reason why I don't make videos is because I do live streams. Because I do things and I like doing things in real time. I like responding back to the comment section to make me hype. It gets me going. The juice is loose. You know what I mean? That's all right. It's what I like to do. You know, I could grow my channel and do these all pre-recorded, but it wouldn't be as fun. And I like having fun. You know, even though I'm not, you know, the next goal is 10,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? It might take me a while to get there. I don't know. You know what I mean? It might take me a long time. I don't know. But, you know, I'm not going to do anything different because somebody else wants me to do something different. But I will also take what they say into consideration, especially if it's something that can educate someone else and give somebody something that maybe, just maybe, they didn't know anything about. And again, I like the way that Rob explained all of that stuff, you know, when it came to, you know, his whole political aspect. But then it gets weird when you say, if I cover Milestone, it just be me being political or whatever. And again, my question is, why is it when it's something Black is political? But we never say this about anything that's Jewish made. We don't say anything about this that is, you know, white made. But as soon as it's Black, I'm political. Are you doing this because I'm Black and you want me to be Black? Yeah. I don't want to do it because I'm Black. Oh, I want. Hold on. Let me see if I. Oh, damn. I want to do. Hold up. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna share something real quick. I'm gonna share something real quick because hold on. I gotta stop sharing the screen. This would this would be Rob if we got him to do some political stuff. If he decided to do something political, this is what it would look like.
We must internalize the flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection. If I may retain my liquids here for one moment, I'd like to continue the redundance of my quote-unquote intestinal tract. See, because to preclude on the issue of world domination would only circumvent, excuse me, circumcise the revelation that reflects the aphrodisiac symptoms which now perpetrates the Jericho's activation.
Oh, snap. If we got Rob to go pro-black, that's exactly what it's going to sound like. Let me tell you something. Again, I don't have a problem with Rob. I'm not making this as a diss. This is not a diss to Rob whatsoever. Am I having a little fun? Of course. But this is not it is not a diss to Rob. Let me say that again. It's not a diss to Rob whatsoever. What this video is about when we make something that can educate others, we try to make that, and we try to separate ourselves and try to make it. I don't want to be political. I don't want to do this because I don't want to step on the toes of the 2.6 million subscribers that I had. The majority of the subscribers, I guarantee you, are white. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice with that type of platform for you to educate more people on stuff that maybe they didn't understand or maybe they don't know. Because if you could get on Twitter and you could talk about something that, you know, we could talk about Timothy McVeigh and your political side and all of that, but dismiss a comic that is black owned, and the reason why you're so popular in this space right now because of the contributions of others that came before us, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that up, B.
All right, I'm about to go ahead and wrap it up. I've been on here long enough, man. I gotta take a nap because I'm going. I gotta talk to Blue and them. I'm going to work tonight, so I'm not gonna be on the Blurred AF because I'm trying to get this money. You know what I'm saying? Marley Moore has a comic. I need to make some money so I can buy it, so I can be a backer. You know what I'm saying? So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to back his comic twice, and I'm going to gift in one of my live streams. Once I get Marley Moore's stuff together, I'm going to back it twice, but one of the ones that I'm backing is going to go to somebody in our comment section. Yeah, I again, Salvo Savage, you got to check out my video that I did 4 years ago about Black Sands comics. I bought the Black Sands comic for my son 5 years ago, and the coloring book. You know what I'm saying? So, but you also got to understand why I don't talk about Black Sands comic again. It's from a video that I did about 4 years ago. But anyway, I'm going to give away the second backing that I'm doing on my live stream. So make sure you guys are checking it out. I'm going to let Marley Moore know. Don't put my name on the second backing. I want to give that away to someone so they could be a backer to Marley Moore's vision for his comic. In his comic has 2 black leads. And again, the reason why we're doing this And the reason why this is so important is because there's too many of the mainstream comic book characters that we talk about on this channel, especially when it comes to television and mass media. They get sidelined, they get treated like crap and all of that. And here goes brothers and sisters just out here making a difference. So let's go. Let's make that difference. I will let you guys know when we get that, when the backing is paid for and all of that. Marley Moore gets his money that I'm over here working hard for, because I work hard for the money. You know, we gonna get that done. So, oh my God, I am so sorry. I went this whole live stream and missed this super chat. No, I'm so sorry, brother or sister, Vampire Greg. I'm sorry. I missed this. He said, I think we're avoiding 1,000-pound gorilla. Just look at Rob. He's not fully us. As such, he is tragically conflicted. He's not all FBA. And I don't know his background. I don't know anything about Rob outside of that. All I'm saying is, you know, I know the brother's black. He claims to be black. We in Black History. Throw us something for Black History, so some other people that don't look like us can be able to be educated on our history and why, you know, we had to separate from the mainstream media guys to create our own. That's all I'm saying. No different than Black Sands, no different than Eric July, no different than Marley Moore, no different than what Chillmonger is doing, no different than what any of these guys are talking about. You know what I'm saying? We all should be celebrating some fame, some factor fortune, except for Eric July, because he be tasting the biscuits. Let's go. Matter of fact, I know he's probably not here, and I do apologize, but we got to taste these biscuits real quick before we go.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
That brother over there be tasting the biscuits. So anyway, yeah, we ain't doing Eric July. Would not support nothing he does at all. Period. Nope. I'd rather get kicked out the window by Stedman. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Drake Mack Show. Excellent conversation. Put it in the comment section. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you understand where Rob is coming from? Do you have a problem with Rob? Put it in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. But again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can never, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and Vampire, man. Enjoy the rest of your guys this Monday. Where is my outro at? You already know. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl. The Chiefs got to get back there and take our crown back. But until then, I gotta go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over? What? Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and Bob Hire, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.